Greetings fellow guitar travellers and musicians everywhere, it's Rowan J. Parker here, presenting to you another episode of Music Theory 101. And on this week's episode of Music Theory 101, we're going to be tackling the harmonic minor scale. We're going to look at the origins of the scale, how it was created, where it comes from. We're going to be looking at the interval structure of the scale and the harmonization of the scale, and then finally a few things to give you so you can utilise the scale in some real music. So it should be a lot of fun, and hopefully by the end of the lesson you'll have a really good grasp on this interesting and unique sound. So before we go ahead and begin the lesson, just like to encourage you to have a look at my website www.rowanjparker.com. Now I'm forever plugging my website and my videos, so I won't do that here. Just have a look at the site. It's a great fun site if you're into guitars. It's got tons of cool guitar on it, amongst other things, so do have a look. Alright, well, without further ado, straight on today's lesson, Music Theory 101, the harmonic minor scale. Let's do it. Now before we go ahead and look at the harmonic minor scale itself, it's worthwhile investigating the origin of the scale and understanding why it came about. And to do that we really need to backtrack a little bit and look at the harmony of the major scale and start understanding something about a concept called cadence. So just to recap, in a C major scale we have the following chords. We have C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished and C major. And we can give each one of these chords a number. So C major is chord 1, D minor is chord 2, E minor is chord 3, and so on. Chord 4, 5, 6, 7 and 1. Now the strongest chord progression or musical resolution you can get in this key is called a perfect cadence, which is the fifth chord of the key resolving to the first chord of the key. So that would be the chord of G resolving to the chord of C, and that would sound something like this. A very strong and complete sounding cadence. And if we turn the G triad into a dominant seventh chord by adding the seventh, we get an even stronger effect. Let's listen. Now if you've listened to any sort of classical music at all, you've heard this cadence all over the place. It's by far the most common and ubiquitous sounding cadence to be found in that particular style. So that's fine, we've got a very strong and complete sounding resolution in a major key 5-1. Now what happens if we go into the relative minor? Now in the key of C major, the relative minor is A minor. So if we now regard the A minor chord as being chord 1, we will get these chords in the key of A natural minor. Let's have a listen. Which is, for clarification, A minor, B diminished, C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major and back to A minor. Now there's a particular problem with that, in that if we take a 5-1 cadence from this key, we will get the following chords. We will get the chord of E minor, which is the fifth chord of the key, resolving to the chord of A minor, which is the first chord of the key. Now we listen to how that sounds. E minor resolving to A minor. It's actually a particularly unsatisfactory and rather weak sounding cadence. It just doesn't have the sort of resounding resolution that a 5-1 cadence has in a major key. And so this weak sounding cadence in the natural minor scale is the principal reason for the creation or invention of the harmonic minor scale, and it was to establish or create strong cadences in minor keys so that harmony in minor keys would just be as complete and fulfilling and satisfying sounding as it was in major keys. And in fact that's why it's called harmonic minor. The word harmonic means relating to harmony, pertaining to harmony, i.e. chords. So there we go, you know a little bit about why the harmonic minor scale was created. Okay, so that gives you a bit of the background, the reason for the creation of the scale. And so now let's just go ahead and look at the actual construction of the harmonic minor scale. Now to understand the structure of the harmonic minor scale itself, we again need to rewind to our trusty C major scale just to understand the relationship between major scales and minor scales. So here's our C major scale once again, which is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now, you can generate a related minor scale to any major scale if you go to the 6th degree of the major scale and play from that note upwards. So if we go 6 notes up, a C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A. That becomes the root of the relative minor scale. And now if we play from A to A, we will get this sound. And this scale is known as A natural minor. It contains these notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. It also has a modal name, as you'll remember if you've watched my modal videos. This would be called Aeolian. And we also know that this scale could be called pure minor. Some jazzers could call this pure minor. So this is our natural minor scale, and again we can hear that it doesn't have a particularly satisfying resolution at the end. The reason for that being that the 7th step of the scale is a tone away from its octave, and that doesn't produce a very strong sense of resolution. So the difference between a natural minor scale and a harmonic minor scale is this. In a harmonic minor scale, the 7th degree is raised 1 semitone, and that small change really dramatically changes the sound of the scale. Let's listen. So just to clarify, the notes in A harmonic minor would be A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp, A. Now you can see by the alteration of that one note, we've completely changed the character of the scale and made it a lot darker sounding and a lot more angular sounding. It now has a rather large jump or interval between the 6th and 7th degree, as we'll see in just a moment. So this rather exotic sounding scale is the scale that was produced by the harmonic minor concept of needing harmony to be satisfying in minor keys. So now we know what the difference between a natural minor scale and a harmonic minor scale is. That is, we just need to raise the 7th degree of a natural minor scale to create a harmonic minor scale. Let's look at the interval construction of the harmonic minor scale. So let's look at the interval construction of this scale now. We have root, major 2nd, minor 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, minor 6th and major 7th, and then the root or octave again. So the key change there is the alteration from what's called a minor 7 to a major 7 when we compare between natural minor and harmonic minor. Let's give you jazz nomenclature for this scale as well. 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, 7 and 1. Okay, so that should make it fairly clear how to construct a harmonic minor scale. Just stick to that formula, start on any note and you'll get a harmonic minor scale in that key. Alright, so that's the intervallic construction of the scale. Now let's look at the harmonization of the scale, and this is where things get quite interesting. Well, that'll do for the theory lesson this week, I think. Join me again next week for part 2, where we're looking at the scale harmonising triads, harmonising sevenths, and then some chord progressions which we can utilise and play the scale against. Alright, so before I sign off, just to plug my website one more time, www.roundjparker.com. You can find me on my YouTube channel, of course, which is Round J Parker. I'm on SoundCloud at Round-Parker, tons of backing tracks you can download for free there. I'm on Facebook page you can like, predictably Round J Parker. And I'm also on Twitter if you want to follow me on Twitter, but my advice is don't bother, because I hate it and don't use it particularly. However, if you must, you must. Alright, so I'll sign off there. I'll see you next week for part 2 of Music Theory 101. Farewell.